This is one-sided report on the Igbos, a Fulani woman's dilemma towards the Igbo. There is a school of thought that writer's block comes from having no ideas at all. I like to refer to it as the creative juices not flowing enough or even at all. Others says it comes from an overflow of ideas, when there is a clash of interests that your mind cannot narrow it down to one. However, my experience with writer's block was different, stemming up from the fear of the not being able to pen down what I most needed to write. A crippling unease invades my psyche. I begin to wonder if there is a moral code for writing about other people that have different life experiences than I do. A week ago, I wrote an opinion piece titled Igbo, which is Indigenous People of Biafra, a government alliance, a terrorism ploy. A newspaper of great repute such as Daily Trust, Premium Times, Vanguard, and Daily Post, and most that had published my articles prior to that gave it a cold shoulder. I found the experience absolutely strange, but eventually the reason for the snub would surface after the Guardian published it and cleaned off every issue I made against the pro-Biafra group, Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, and their hostilities. It seems like my opinion had hit a nerve, but then flying Indigenous People of Biafra does not equate to my flying the entire Igbos or Igbo land and what it stands for. As a Fulani woman of Fulani descent hailing from Yola North, Adamawa State, where the majority ethnicity is the Fulbe Fulani, does condemnation to vile Fulani herdsmen mean an attack on my entire ethnicity? Or does casting aspersion on Boko Haram, which is Nigeria's radical Islamic group, a jab at my entire religion? Absolutely not. As a lover of good literature, some of the group of people who make me accept who I am as a Nigerian today, apart from great Northerners, including Igbo writers like Buchi Emecheta, Flora Nwakpa, and the great Chinua Achebe. In fact, as I write this, I remember from my secondary school days how my usually boring literature class will come alive when discussing Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. The novel is not only a significant book in literature because of its disparity from the relatable, likable protagonist trope. It is also a significant book in history because it tells the story of African colonization from the African perspective. It is also through their inks I learned about the Nigerian Civil War of 1967 and the strong-willed people of Biafra. Though I do not think it is fair to affiliate a group of people by their misfortune and tragedies. Sometimes the necessity to do so arises in order to truly appreciate the strength of the Igbo people. I know people hear the phrase civil war and think it happened centuries back, whereby only our ancestral's father witnessed it. It actually happened some 50 years ago, and our parents, including some of our immediate aunties and uncles, were alive and had experienced it. Conversely, one thing I want to cast light on is that during the war, Nigeria had changed its currency, and so after the war, the Igbos who came out of the battle alive were homeless and unemployed. Those that still had the old currency couldn't utilize it and were left without means or financial resources. To rectify the issue, the federal government gave each Igbo citizen 20 Nigerian pounds as a den, regardless of what the person had prior to the war. It was also at that time that the Nigerian indigenization decree was implemented. The Nigerianization policy, as it was popularly known, forced foreign companies to sell their shares to Nigerians. Since the Igbos had that 20 Nigerian pounds to their names, they couldn't benefit from said shares. Today, the wealthiest demographic in Nigeria is arguably the Igbos, who acquire their wealth from sheer sweat and determination. This wealth can actually be traced back to that 20 Nigerian pounds, and how they managed to achieve this is by creating generational wealth. Apart from the southern or southeasterners' ability to persevere, another thing that is of great admiration is their unique entrepreneurialism that integrates from a form of all for one and one for all empowerment known as the Onwa Boy. This concept is an Igbo mentoring business that is in a form of apprenticeship that entails the youth sacrificing early marital life for servitude to their mentors who are successful entrepreneurs, and this earns the young men business skills and financial support to establish their own small-scale enterprise. And at that process of time, another set of young men will be introduced to the former mentee to become a mentor himself, and the circle goes on and on. The Homa Boy scheme has been in existence for a long time in the southeastern region and can be said to be responsible for the root of many successful ventures in the Igbo land. Pondering on my favorite Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's TED Talk speech titled The Dangers of a Single Story, which is the dangers of a single story, which is the most watched TED Talk video on YouTube, by the way. I want to point out how the media influences our beliefs. It is unfortunate to say that the way we view ourselves as people of different ethnic groups in Nigeria is highly impacted by the media. The media's social mechanism has an indirect influence on those that feast on it, and this is due to the fact that the mode of delivery is usually public. I understand that the media is a powerful tool to educate, inform, and entertain in a positive light and enhance coordination on a norm or action through creating common knowledge. Still, some of the information disseminated over a period of time causes us all to update our beliefs, be it shared or personal. Most of us will find out that what we think we know about a person or a group of persons is through the media's counsel. An example is the stereotyping of Igbos as only electronic merchants and stereotyping of anyone named Musa to be a gatesman. Sometimes, instead of the media being catalyst for peaceful coexistence and national unity, they end up confusing those who look up to them and serve as ethnocentric champions promoting primordial and secessionist agenda. Asking my Igbo friend Chukwu Kadibia, a chef who we simply call Chef, his views on IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra, he explained to me that the ideology behind the group was said to be rather reactive to evil elements than to instigate. Before I could ask if violence was the best method to respond to said element, he condemned the criminal components of the group and of the society at large. We ended the conversation agreeing that Nigeria as a unit could benefit from the strengths of its mix of colorful ethnicities when combined in harmony. From the foregoing, I have nothing against the peace-loving Igbos as a Fulani woman, but the IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra militants who are seeking a secession through violent means. This is a story that touches, but I want to say, to end my note, according to the last note, she said she thinks maybe or believe that the indigenous people of Biafra militants are seeking a secession through violent means, which is the answer: no. They are not seeking with violence. If they were seeking with violence, it won't be as it is now, or on the other hand, otherwise they would have gotten the referendum they needed if they had done it with violence. But what is going on in the Igbo land or the southeast as at today is a planned machinery, because I believe the federal government never wanted a referendum, and they believe if the secession takes place, they, in the aim of affairs, that call themselves the Fulani or the Northern, they will lose a whole lot, and they don't want a secession, and they don't want that. That is why they wanted to stop the Igbos. But in a nutshell, instead of stopping the Igbos, they want to use violence. I would say the federal government of today, which is the Fulani government, are the ones, violating the rules and, demonizing the Igbos and calling them the terrorists, and diverting the insecurity in the northern part towards the southeastern, so that everything in the world would say the Igbos are the ones, destabilizing the government of the present administration, Fulani Buhari. Well, I would like you to share your comments. I may not be able to read most of the comments out, but you can share your comment and your thoughts towards this. Thanks for listening, and God bless.